So right now we are live on Facebook.
Okay, you can start it.
Yes, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we have Mr. Ninad Karpe, who usually asks questions, but this time we have it the other way around. We have a veteran industry leader whose 2 decade successful career has spanned from building companies and now to funding companies. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Arsha. I'm delighted to be on the show and thank you for inviting me.
An honor to have you, sir. So, sir, in your career, in all the different roles that you have played and built companies, what is the difference between running an established firm and funding a startup? What is more exciting for you?
Very, very interesting question, Arsha. I thought running a company would be tougher. And obviously, I've run a global multinational in India. I've run a listed company, and listed company has its own set of challenges because of regulations. And I thought, having done that, being a VC and for early stage startups, what we at 100x we fund early stage startups. I thought that would be a piece of cake. To the contrary, it is tough, but the best part of it is fun. Every day I'm listening to new ideas. It is challenging, but at the same time, I think it's far tougher than running a company, running a fund, and investing in companies.
Okay. So, sir, since the inception of your career, you have been in the tech focused area. How do you see the growth and progression of the tech based industry from the past, the present times that we are in during the COVID, and how do you foresee its future? How is it shaping?
Harsha, we could have a full day discussion on this, the kind of intense question which you asked. But for the sake of brevity, and Dr. Upadhyay is also here, so I'm delighted to see him also on this. I will be very, very brief. When I joined, technology was something. When I joined the tech industry, probably around 20 years back, that time one had to evangelize technology. We had to say, no, technology is important. You need to embrace it. Now it's the reverse. And then we went into a phase of people understanding the importance of technology from a productivity perspective. Now, from productivity, it has come into a day-to-day life. If it wasn't for technology, we wouldn't be having this conversation just now. Sitting in different places. So today, technology is not just a productivity tool, not just something which helps you improve your work, but improves the productivity of life, quality of life. So it is totally inside you now. The latest thing I've heard is that coding is the new English. So there's a crazy rush for kids to learn coding, and I have seen now of course one can have a debate on that. Is that correct, good or bad? But yes, that's a thing which I'm hearing now. So it has swung from one side totally to the other side. I am a big believer that technology is fundamentally here to shape our lives for good. We should embrace the good part of it. We should embrace how it can impact us in the social sectors, health, in education, all the social sectors, and it has to embrace, if to embrace it, obviously for business, but for personal well-being as well.
So, what is the most disruptive technology or innovation that you have come across?
WhatsApp is something which has really changed the world, the way we communicate as a collaborative technology. It is not new, it's been there for many years now. But that has been something which has really, really made a big impact on everything. I have 2 sons, and when my elder son had gone to US to study, it was once a week call, brief call. And now when my second son is there, it's a video call is possible every day free. So it's a very, very different world of communicating with people, of collaborating with people. That has changed a lot of things. Of course, in the social media, a lot of things have happened and continue to happen, but those are more in terms of building contacts. So WhatsApp now is an all-pervasive technology. It is not just for personal, it's for business. You will see WhatsApp is now integrated with Facebook. We are going to see in India a massive revolution because Facebook has brought some stake in Reliance Jio, and they're going to, from what I read in the papers, I'm not privy to their what they're planning to do, but from what I read, they're going to integrate all this and change the last mile retail stores in India. So that's a combination of all these technologies is going to make a massive difference. So these technologies start overlapping with each other and take benefit from each other.
Excellent, sir. I totally agree with you on the WhatsApp front. Now, you have played a key role in the EdTech industry, leading AppTech and being on the board of governance of Learning Reimagined. Where do you think is India lagging in the education system, and what kind of policies do you see that the Indian ministry should come up with in order to fill this gap?
Harsha, each of your question is so loaded. I must compliment you. They are, me and Dr. Upadhyay could have this discussion for a day long
Yes.
event, this kind of question. But here is what a summary of my thoughts, and I'll just put my kind of executive summary of entire education thing. I think India will become the laboratory for all innovation in edtech, and the reason is very simple. No other country in the world offers the depth, and the breadth of the kind of educational challenges and the responses there are. You name it, it's there in India. You name a problem, it's there. Name a solution, it's there. So India will have massive mushrooming edtech companies giving solutions first to the Indian context, and when they start scaling up, they'll realize these are horizontal solutions which can solve fundamental problems of education outside India as well. And when that happens, truly speaking, India will become the edtech capital of the world. In terms of education, we have seen now the new education policy. It has been in making for some time now. It has covered a large ground. It has covered a massive area, right from early education to postgrad. I'm not here to discuss the new education policy. I can only say that I've never seen such a comprehensive policy document for a country. It's comprehensive. People have taken pot shots at it for some thing missing here, missing there. It may be so, but in terms of comprehensiveness, coverage, it cannot be blamed.
And so in the new era, since you're heading 100x VC, wherein we have social entrepreneurship as a new trend which is being talked about. Although we have been having social entrepreneurs since more than 2 decades now, what do investors look before funding a company in the established companies and in startups?
So investment is a very, very specialized activity, and investors sometimes are misunderstood in the outlook. But here's what we do, and let me, before I get into that, let me give a 2-minute thing on recently 100x. We have funded 9 companies, 9 startups, early stage startups. We fund only early stage startups, first check. One of them being, I must mention one particularly, one girl, Kanika. She's founded a company called MindPeers. It is into mental wellness, mental well-being. So of course, it's driven by profits, but it's something which impacts so many people. And I was so delighted when she came to us, and we are so happy to fund. So what are the couple of things which people look at funding? Firstly, when you go to an investor, whether it's an impact investor or a not for impact or for profit investor, they look at, is the coverage large? Everyone wants either a large market size or something which is a technology, an offering, a product, a practice, something which impacts a lot of people. If it's a niche offering which impacts only a few people in some small location, a hyper local small location, it's a very different approach then. So generally speaking, they look at a larger share. But more important, always, and you'll be surprised at how often founders are not able to come up to the mark, they look at the passion of the founders. They look at who is the founding team, what are they trying to do, what is the problem they are solving, what is the solution they have, what is the market size for that, what is the market size they are addressing, is there an IP? So there are a host of questions. So broadly speaking, top two, if I have to say, founders' capability is what is required. See, ultimately, investors just put money in a venture. The person who's driving it is the founder. The founder has to be passionate to take this money along. Investors, you'll be surprised. Investors, when we fund companies, we tell the founders we are grateful you're allowing us a chance to be on your equity table. You're grateful that you're taking our money. We are just putting money in you in your venture, and you are doing the hard work of running it. I have run listed companies, I have run large companies, multinational company. It is not easy. So that's how it works. So founders' capability is sums up what fundamentally investors look at.
Sir, in the new era of
I think Dr.
investments,
Upadhyay wanted to.
Harsha, I
Dr.
just wanted to
yes,
continue that point to know from him will be very relevant because what is happening, we work in social sector.
Sure.
Social sector is totally changing now. It's a threat also, like you saw the new FCRA bill, and earlier there was a CSR amendment proposed. We said only Section 8 companies can do CSR now. And with FCRA, this thing, and also we are talking about social stock exchange.
Right.
When we talk about social stock exchange, I think we'd like to know from you what it really means to the social sector. Where we are going to land.
No, I think, see, like you have, the social stock exchange is not a new concept. It's there in parts of Europe where, social sector companies, like how you have equity companies who list on the stock exchange, and the people buying and selling stocks of that, and you can raise money. Similarly, it can be done in various formats. One could be just a kind of portal meeting place where social sector companies seeking funds can come, and funders can come. That's one, but that's more a portal or a meeting point. Other way is actually to have these companies listed. So, for example, I mentioned about, we funded recently a mental health company. We also, it will be interesting for you to know that we also funded recently a young girl who had come to us, and we funded her. She is targeting the problem of PCOS in women. And we have funded that company. So it impacts health. So these people, if there is a social stock exchange, they can then go to the stock exchange instead of doing listing in the regular stock exchange, which is driven by a different purpose and need and different kind of people operating there. This stock exchange can have listed only by social impact companies. And then they will have people who are wanting to buy and sell because they believe in the social companies which make a social impact. So it is good. It is certainly good. It should be done, and I hope it happens soon.
Sure. Yeah.
so I'm thankful to Dr. Upadhyay to ask that question because it is a pretext to what I'm going to ask you next. So in the present times, we have different forms of funding, impact funding, responsible funding, ethical funding, and ESG related funding and SDG relating fundings are coming up in India also. So how do you see India would play a vital role in it?
So, I think the way things are maturing, in India, the funding sector, the VC sector or the social funding sector has been quite narrow till now compared to, let's say, again, I'm sorry to again repeat of European countries or, other countries. But the fact is, the depth has not been there. What is the reason for it? There's no particular reason. It is just a market maturity. It is just that not more people have realized that you have to be on the funding side to make an impact. You don't have to necessarily just do any other activity. So you want to make an impact on the social fund side of things. Come on the impact funding side. Help the startup founders and do that. So these various flavors of funding, if I may call it. So we are early stage. We are horizontal across sectors. I gave you two, companies, but of course, your other companies, your tech companies, but we are horizontal. But these various flavors of funding, whether it's impact funding, we do have impact funding people in India. Certainly they are there, but we do need a lot more, whether it's ESG funding, impact funding. So I'll give an example. Harsha and Dr. Upadhyay, I was so taken aback when I recently was contacted by a VC firm. It's a proper venture capital firm based in US, well funded. They fund only mental health startups across the world. Can you imagine the sharp mental health well-being startups across the world? Such a sharp focus. I hope, and I hope within the next 5 years, if all of us gather together, hopefully in a virtual environment again, we are able to identify such kind of funds even in India. So if we feel that we need to fund one particular social sector, is there a fund operating from India which funds only that sector? It will happen. It's just a matter of time. Why is it not happening now? I think it's just a process of maturity.
So,
Uh,
since this, yes, Dr. Upadhyay.
a related question. Since I know a lot of my friends, like say Matthew, he used to head the Helpage India,
Sure.
and this whole debate going on. How do you see the development sector? Where it should go now, and what it should do?
No, Dr. Upadhyay, particularly after what we have seen in the last 6 months, the need for mature development sector in India is absolutely multiplied now. We have seen rapid deterioration in a lot of economic indicators, health indicators, and it will probably, I'm sure India will bounce back. I remain optimistic. But all these initiatives, are absolute must. I tell people, people, let's say, who have money or people who have time, uh, you know, India has anything and everything which requires time and attention. Do you feel passionate about something? Do that. Do you feel passionate about, you mentioned about Helpage India, or, about some environment, wildlife, you feel passionate about, health in rural areas, health for, younger children, whatever it is, I think, there's a whole vast area which needs to be addressed. And by, we are seeing that a lot of this is probably, being the societal expectation is now coming to that all these social issues, the private sector has to start playing a more key role. 20 years back, 30 years back, the societal expectation was that the government will handle everything. Today, the expectations are changing rapidly. And the expectations are that private individuals, organizations have to contribute to the well-being of society. And that's a big change. Kids in school, coming out of colleges, understand that this is an integral part of their living and life. So it's a big change.
Sir, since the show would be watched by many of the entrepreneurs also in the social space, what are the different phases of startup funding? It will be great to hear from you.
So the first thing is obviously an idea. What is your idea you have? Convert that from idea to ideation is the first phase. You have to convert that to a business plan. Discuss your business plan with your partner, with your parents, with your siblings, with whoever you can. Get it well. Then go to next stage, which is implement it in a small way. We call it a MVP stage, which takes some time. So implement it in a small phase. Don't go for a huge kind of implementation, either in your local community or on if you're using technology a lot in a limited area. See the impact. Are people liking what you're doing? Is it having an impact? After that, if you're convinced of that, then make the next step, which is make a plan to grow it, scale it. People love people funding love ideas which have the capability of scaling rapidly, and then approach a fund. You don't need to have or go it, don't need to run an idea for a couple of years before approaching a fund. You'll be surprised how funds are even willing to fund you, at the early stage. And don't get disappointed. Average, early stage person has to meet at least the world global average is 60 people before he or she gets a fund. So if you get 59 no's, keep going. It's a long process. So 60 is the global average. I'm hoping India is lesser because we are hopefully less. But let's even half of that. That means 30, let's say, people. So people do get disappointed. I'm, got the best idea in the world. I'm convinced about it. I go to a VC or I go to a social impact fund and they say no, and I'm shocked. That should not be the case. Move on, go to the next person, go to the next person. It takes time. Don't get disappointed. So assume India there's no average. This is a global average. So India's, even if you assume half, 30. So don't be disappointed. But place your ideas. So what happens is once you start talking about ideas to people, after the first, second, third, you yourself will realize your ideas improve, and you will get funded. Let me put the final word on this topic. People are chasing good ideas. Funds, capital are chasing ideas, not the other way around. When you don't get funded, in couple of meetings, you feel it's the other way around. It's not true. Funds are chasing good social impact ideas also. We are not an impact fund, but yes, we do fund companies which are horizontal. But the fact is, capital is chasing ideas. Let me leave you with that thought, Harsha. Capital is chasing good ideas.
That is very encouraging to hear from you, sir. I hope you like our ideas.
I'm sure they're good.
Sir, in the present times, Dr. Upadhyay just took a session on future focused reporting and measurement tools. So how do you see that we can measure the impact of ventures? And what would you as an indicators or only monetary measurement indicators?
So true, Harsha. I think the whole field of impact measurement is now going to a totally different level. It's no longer enough to have a big business plan and have funds with you. But what is the impact it's making in various perspectives? In terms of, is it jobs? Is it the impact in bringing people to a better quality of life? Is it, if you are not a social impact company, obviously, the kind of revenues you're making, the kind of coverage you have. So broadly, the coverage part of your company, whether it's an impact company or others, and more so in the impact company, is very critical now. And not just the breadth of the coverage, the depth as well. So, if you're just saying, oh, I trained 100,000 people just for some basic skills, but it really doesn't make an impact in his or her life, is not important. It's also the depth of impact is important. How there are various measurement tools. Of course, I'm not an expert on that, but it is now being monitored more closely than ever before. And that topic, I'm increasingly seeing it being discussed over and over again at various forums, board meetings and forums, that it is not enough just to fund. It is not enough just to have a great idea. What is the impact? And earlier, the impact is to be more horizontal. Oh, we've impacted so many numbers. A little bit of depth also is now slowly gaining prominence. And this is what I'm seeing from the outside. Of course, Dr. Upadhyay and others are experts in this field. This aspect will become more important than ever before in times to come.
When we teach social SDGs, what is happening practically, the 17th goal is participation. Right. So what we are talking a different platform is, can really civil society, which when we discussed civil society with the corporate, we always used to say that there's a trust deficit. Right. Then comes in government. So right. There comes the third dimension. Now, what we say, if you really want to achieve all this, Government has to work with the civil society, with the corporates, and academia has to support it. So we call it stakeholder engagement as such.
Right.
So how do you see as a funder, where are we heading for?
So I think the overall societal belief that private people have to play an increasing role
Yes.
is now a trend which is just going to keep growing. Uh, that means that doesn't mean that government has to vacate its responsibility. It means that government has to continue doing that and keep doing what they're doing. But at the same time, the expectations of private people and private companies and individuals, and of course, large people with large wealth, uh, filling in some of those gaps which are so apparent is increasing. So what is going to happen? The government expectation that it has to have played its role will continue. It will go at its own pace. That pace cannot be accelerated dramatically because of the nature of the way it works. But the need for higher social impact is growing at a faster pace than what government can keep pace with. And this is governments across the world. So that gap which happens, it is imperative for private individuals and companies to start slowly filling that gap. So in this whole kind of combination of the stakeholders, my belief is that as we go ahead in time, uh, this whole equation of stakeholders is going to become extremely critical for success. And these expectations will keep evolving. They won't change overnight, but they'll keep evolving in this manner. And my belief is what I mentioned to you. This is rapidly evolving in this direction.
So now we have, I'm going to ask you some fireside questions. What do you think? What is good? Social entrepreneur versus capitalist entrepreneurs in the present times, where you will fund?
No. So as a livelihood, obviously, I have to fund non-social, but doesn't mean. So if I had a choice, I would do social. But at the same time, we do fund companies which have an impact. So I mentioned mental well-being impact. Funded recently companies called MindPeers and this company PCOS called MyAva. So we do fund. It has. See, social doesn't mean we don't fund at all. Yeah, we don't fund pure impact companies, but if it has an impact, something. So yes, the answer is if I had a choice outside of the fund, social impact. If I'm in the fund, obviously the other way.
You're being diplomatic. So what do you prefer, SDG oriented investment or ESG oriented investments?
No, SDG is a very broad, framework.
Okay, sir. So angel investors versus Series A funding.
Angel is a place which can have a lot of impact. It can make or break a startup. It's early stage. Angel is personally, I really prefer angel.
Although you have been supporting a lot of education oriented projects, but if given a chance, what would you prefer more, education projects or healthcare projects?
That's a tough one. You're putting me in a spot, but education. If I have to select between the two.
Okay, sir. So I on this note, I will open it up to all the people who are present in the room right now. May I request for questions, please?
Can I ask one?
Can we have you?
Can I ask a question?
No, we want to see you also first.
Just 1 second. I'm trying to get better connection. Give me 1 minute. Okay. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay. So you were just talking about how you would prefer the education sector more to the, if given a choice. So, there is a big difference in the turnaround time when you're working with education, when you're working with health. And do you feel that the funders who are willing to invest and do they appreciate the fact that it will not be a 2+2, children coming out of education means a long-term investment to be able to see even any improvement, and to see actual change, it really means a lot of investment and time and everything.
Sure. So I know it's a good question. I selected education just because I was in the sector for a long time, and Harsha put a gun to my head to select one of the two. But obviously both are important, and I would select both. See, what happens is the fact that the education sector investments take a long time to mature is known. So is health. So I don't think people funding have lack of appreciation or knowledge about it. Uh, what happens typically, and I mentioned to in this discussion earlier, is uh, funding is a little bit of a painful exercise, as in you get a lot more no's than yes. And if you have to meet 59 people and only the 60th person says yes on average, it's quite a journey to keep going till 59th person you met. You keep feeling that these people are not understanding what I'm trying to say, and which is a correct emotion to have, because you believe in your idea, you believe in your project, and you're not getting funded. So you keep getting frustrated saying, oh God, what's happening? These people are not understanding. So that frustration comes out in conversations saying people are not understanding what I'm doing. But the also fact is, remember, people funding are hungry for ideas. They are looking for new ideas. If I have not met a single funder who does not read the emails which are sent, because they are worried. Suppose I don't look. Suppose you present an idea and I don't look at it. I'm worried. Have I missed out on a good idea? There's always fear that I miss out on a good idea if I don't read. So it's untrue that people don't read. Yes, it takes time to appreciate, but by and large, people funding understand education and health take some time for results to be shown.
Thank you. That
Thank
kind
you.
of gives us hope, not to lose hope too early.
Rajendra, Rajendra, can you unmute? Rajendra Bist or Amarjeet?
Hi, sir. Yeah.
Rajendra, please.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Nice to hear you, sir.
Pleasure.
Pleasure. Privilege. So we actually working as a Jubilant Bharati Foundation. We are the CSR wing of Jubilant Bharati Group. So we, the boss, my boss, actually he has this idea that whatever project that we are developing needs to be sustainable over the years. You cannot carry it forever.
Sure.
So in this regard, we started a health project this year. And basically, it was immediately after this COVID, because COVID actually disrupted the whole healthcare system, as you know. So earlier, we were delivering it via ambulance, with an ambulance service, where the doctors and the whole team used to go to the village. But now we created a telemedicine platform. We took inspiration from telemedicine platform, created our own platform, and we are working in the villages, where villages are now slowly and steadily they have two options: either they can come through an application, it's a very simple application, or they can directly call our centers, like the people who are helping them. So they directly go, then it goes to doctor, and doctor calls them back, and this is how the whole process. And finally, in the areas where we are active, we deliver medicine immediately in the next day also. We are not taking any like telemedicine. We are not taking any serious cases. We just refer them. We are focusing on the primary care, because we believe that 70 to 80% of the patients need primary. So basically, the idea about giving this whole backdrop is to understand that since we are a succeed company, we are running our own project. Uh, so we were thinking that if it is possible, if this runs nicely, we wanted to scale it up, and has this potential of scalability. So how we can approach the funders? We being ourselves being a Section 8 company, do we have to register this whole initiative into a new as a new company under Section 8 or some non-governmental organization to receive funding, or can we just directly reach out to the funders?
So if you're seeking a fund for a particular initiative, it will have to be parked as a separate company. It cannot be in a lot, with other initiatives and say, okay, I need funding only for this particular initiative. So obviously it will have to be a separate company, and then you can look at people to fund that company. From what you have told me, the idea looks very exciting, uh, and obviously it's something which can scale and which can get rapid adoption. Uh,
Because
Go
in
ahead.
this, sorry, sir. So basically, we were thinking that health in urban areas is basically more accessible, and we are able to do it because we are more tech savvy over here. But in rural areas, they need more customized solutions, and that needs to be more sustainable also. So we need to balance those two things, and with the added advantage of technology. So because we do not have that kind of backup funding backup so as to move it to other places, we were seeking like if there is something we can do with the funds.
But let me ask you, if once this tech platform is ready, just to maintain it is what you require the funds for? Because, otherwise, once a tech platform is ready, you don't require funds at all, right?
Yeah. So basically, sir, at this particular moment, we are running the whole, I would call it initial pilot project. So we are running it at our locations. And we have, over the time, we have developed the platform itself also. We are still learning because it's too early. Uh, so the cost actually, which you rightly said, one was the platform development cost, which we have already gone through, we have done it. And the second cost is the regular cost that is coming up for the areas where we are also delivering medicine from our side. So that is a part of CSR. But if there is some organization, we were thinking of linking up the local, what do you say, local chemist shops as one point for medicine supply and additional empanelment of doctors also. So that makes it automatically sustainable. We are just waiting, like we wanted to see results ourselves first to understand.
So I'll just give quick, 2-minute advice. You have two options, Amarjit, right? That your name?
Raj.
Yeah. So you have two options. One is, you've developed this platform, open source it, make an app, put it on the Play Store, let anyone use the tech platform. You've done your job, and you require, minimal maintenance cost. So then just becomes a horizontal platform which anyone can. So then that will rapidly scale because people will start it. That's one option. The second option is, form a different company in which shape and form you'll have to take advice. I'm not the expert in that company. Then you own this tech platform, you want to raise money, and then have a business model where whoever comes in that platform, you earn some money and make it self-sustainable. Whether it's a chemist, doctor, whatever, you become an aggregator of all these people and ensure that there's some regular income. These are the two broad options available to you. Whichever one you take, it's a great idea.
Amarjit, can you unmute?
Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Please.
Amarjit now. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Amarjit.
Sir, I feel very good to be here with you all. Sir, my question was, sir, as we know that all the government school or private school are closed right now, and in most probably private school students are getting online classes, and however they are getting classes and they are being taught whether in home or getting tuitions. But the government school students, neither they have good resources like laptops or mobile phones so that they can have education. So what would be the way forward or roadmap for them, those who are residing in rural areas, or those who are poor, very poor? What would be the way forwards for them, sir?
Amarjit, you have touched a very raw nerve. This is a problem which brings tears to my eyes if I think about deeply, because so many of young girls and boys have no access. Some of them are, let's say 4 in a family, 5 in a family. Typically, only the father has a phone, which may not again be a smartphone, and some of these people are trying, to send education material through as a SMS, or even some cheap some videos which are very tough. I think fundamentally this is a nightmare of a problem which does not have immediate solution. But I always have optimism that technology is magic, and technology will find a way to solve this problem, whereby even the poorest in this country and the son or daughter of the poorest will be able to access a good quality live online class just the way a rich person can. So it just we have to wait for it. Today there is no easy solution. They are trying hybrid solutions with text messages, WhatsApp things, but even access to a simple instrument is very, very tough. We'll have to wait for a perfect solution. There are intermediate solutions.
Shobika, can I have you?
Yes, hello.
Please.
Hello.
Yes. You invest, you fund seed companies, like you do seed investment.
Correct.
So what would be the first thing that makes you, like, what is the most paramount thing, the most important thing when you consider investing in any project or an idea?
It's very simple. It's the founders and the founders.
That you said, apart from that, there has to be an idea behind it as well.
So I'll tell you 4, 5 parameters. Yeah, founder being the first, then the market size potential. It has to be large. You start with total market could be, your state, your region, and country, global. So the market size has to be large. What is the business model the founder is thought of? Is it something which is new for that industry? Is it something which is more cost efficient, better? Then the most critical part, one of the critical parts is what we call unfair advantage or moat. Is it a new IP which is developed? Is it a better practice? And the last and the most important, what is the customer acquisition or go to market? Is it, are you the first in the industry doing it? And it's not necessary that you have to be very unique. You could be the second in the industry. It's not a problem. But are you doing something better than the first? Because it's a matrix which you look at. But again, let me repeat: at the end of the day, is the founder who is.
Over to you, Harsha.
Right. We would begin with giving the certificates right now to all the successful candidates. So I'll be sharing the screen, and I would request the name on your camera, and please feel free to take pictures and post it. So Mr. Rajendra Bisht. Rajendra? You were there, no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there is some spelling mistake.
Hi. Congratulations, Rajendra.
that will make the corrections.
Sure.
Mr. Amarjeet Yadav.
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations, Amarjeet.
Thank
So, Ninad sir, these are the successful candidates from Dr. Upadhyay's
Congratulations,
course
everyone.
right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Deepak.
Ma'am, he is not present today.
Shobika. Hi.
Hi, I can't see the screen. I think the screen is still on Rajendra's certificate.
It will take now can you?
It's okay. I think it's not changing on our end, but thank you. If there's any spelling error, I'll let you know.
Are you able to see now?
Not yet.
Sabine.
Right here.
It's not coming on the screen, Harsha.
Is it with?
I think your screen has hung.
I see. I see. Let me see what I can do. Is it visible now?
No.
Now also it's not visible, sir.
No.
I don't know. This is how it is showing at my end. And I will be sending it across.
Sure.
So last message from Mr. Karpe.
Thank you, Harsha, for inviting me. Thank you, Dr. Upadhyay. It's always a pleasure to interact with you. I have had the privilege of a few interactions, and
Sure,
I've
sir.
enjoyed all of them. And I hope to get more chances to interact. Congratulations to all of you for completing this course. It's unique. I wish I was on the other side of doing this course and not being on this side. But that's how life is. Keep in touch. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on social media. I'm everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Keep in touch. We can always exchange ideas. This is for you an exciting journey. The best part of it is, unlike other sciences, this is not a static science. It's an evolving science. So all the very best, and thank you again for inviting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.